Hi everyone, we're going to go over task 1 of this AlienGame programming challenge. Basically we're going to code the character class, and I'm not going to spend too much time reading this information to you. Hopefully you've seen the problem. If you haven't seen the problem, pause the video now so that you can read the information. Okay. Here we have a table describing all of the methods that we're going to be designing in the character class. I'm going to show you solutions now to most of these methods, and I'm going to go over a couple of them that I haven't finished yet, which are the trickier ones. Okay, so our constructor method initializes x and y and also score. So here is my code for the constructor method. The up method decrements the y-coordinate by 1, and if the new value is less than 0, the y-coordinate is set to 300. So the y-coordinate is decremented by 1, and if the new value is less than 0, it's set to 300. So there is the code for the up method. So you should be able to follow that logic now for down, left, and right. And I've coded those here. Again, I'll just leave it on the screen for you to have a look at. If you want to pause the video, please do so. We then have I've coded the eat apple sound and the bump cactus sound. And these play sounds. I don't know how to do that yet in Python. I need to figure that out. So I've just created a couple of dummy methods here. They just use print statements whenever they're called. Okay, and I'll figure out how to do the sound thing later. Alright, what I'd like to do today is code the eat apple and bump cactus methods. Eat apple increments the score by 1 and calls this class method here. Okay, so we have a method within the class which is calling another member of the class. So let's do that. Def eat apple. I don't think there are any parameters according to that description. It increments the score by 1 and it calls, so self dot underscore underscore score equals self dot underscore underscore score plus 1. So we're incrementing the score, and we're going to call this method. Now because it's a member of the same class, this is how to do it. In Python, self dot and then the method name. And there are no parameters. Eat apple sound, that's the one. And there are no parameters, so that's fine. That should work. Okay, and let's go to bump cactus. It decrements the score by 1. Def bump cactus. Self, I don't think there are any parameters. It decrements our score variable by 1. And it calls the method bump cactus sound. So this is a member of the same class, so we're going to use self dot bump cactus sound. And I don't think there are any parameters. Nope. So that is how to do that. Okay, notice that we don't put self in here. We're not defining the bump cactus sound method, we're calling it. And the bump cactus sound method has no parameters. Okay, so please be clear on that. Alright, the final one that I want to go over with you is, okay, get score, get x, and get y. I haven't coded those here, and I don't want to waste time doing it unless you really want me to. You should know how to do that already. And get coordinates returns a string displaying the current position of the character in this format. Okay, so let's just do that very quickly as well. Def get coordinates self. I don't think there are any parameters. We need to make a string, guys, and we have to understand that x and y, these variables, store integers. So we need to convert those to be strings in order to format a string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say x equals the string version of self dot underscore underscore x. Why have I got x is assigned but never used? That's okay. So this is an integer. I'm converting it to be a string because later I want to concatenate it into a string, and I'm just assigning that to a variable for now. I'm going to do the same for my y class variable, self dot underscore underscore y. So I've now managed to get my two integers, which every character object stores, and I've just converted them to be strings. So now I can create an output, and let's create another. So it's in this format, x colon and then the value and then a semicolon and then y colon value. Okay, so it's going to be x colon, and concatenated onto that is going to be this variable here, x. And then concatenated onto that is going to be the semicolon and y, and then a colon, and then concatenated onto that is going to be the y value, which I've got here in string format. So there's a string. And that's the thing that I'm going to return, because don't forget, get coordinates returns. Okay, returns. Be careful. Make sure you do that. Okay. All right. If you really want me to show you how to code get score, get x, and get y, you have to email me, because I'm not going to do that in this video. Alrighty, let's just test our code. So let's just, I'm going to make some, so outside the class now, this is going to be my test program. I'm just going to follow the one that's here. C equals character. This doesn't test everything in the program, in the class, but it should give us an idea if things are working. So if c dot, oh no, I need to go and code my get x, don't I? Okay. C dot right. So move it to the right and print the coordinates. Okay, because I need this method for this little test code, I will bow to your wishes and define my getX method. There are no parameters. We're simply returning the variable, which is a class variable. So we use self, it's private. So we use the underscore underscore, and the name of the variable is x. So let's run this code. Let me just maximize this screen and see if we can get this to work. Run. Yay! So what happened here? We constructed a character object. We then looked at its x coordinate, and while that is less than 500, we're just going to move it right. And remember, the right method simply updates the value of the x coordinate. That's all it does. And if we reach the edge, it pushes it back to the other side of the screen. In fact, that would be quite interesting to test, wouldn't it? Can you see here that the x coordinate is changing? We are moving to the right. We're not moving up and down. Y doesn't change, but x is changing. Let's do while... I'm just going to create another variable here, a equals 0, and then while a is less than 1,000, because I want to move it 1,000 times. I want to see it going back to 0. Let's not say 1,000. Let's say 501. Do that, and update a equals a plus 1. So let's just see if we can cross that. So x is moving right it just keeps going to the very edge of the game board. It reaches the very edge and then it goes back to the other side of the board, right? So what this means is, I hope you get this concept, when the character, and it's not happening in this animation unfortunately, but when the character reaches this edge, it jumps back to this edge. And that's how the character can reappear, okay? All right, that's the end of task 1.